There's a weight you're carrying right now that feels personal, like the sky decided to lean on your shoulders. It might be a breakup that still echoes in your chest, money that never seems to stretch, a job that chews you up and spits you out, or the quiet daily grind of trying to keep your family afloat. Whatever shape it takes, it pushes into your life and makes the world feel colder, smaller, meaner. If that's you, if you're walking through a season that's bruising you, stop for a second and listen to this. The universe is not punishing you. It's preparing you. I know how that sounds. When life hands you one thing after another, it's easy to read it as cosmic disdain. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? Those are human questions, honest and raw. But here's a different answer, and one that will change how you move from this moment forward. Hardship is not hate. Hardship is training. Not training like the cheerful gym montage where you get ripped in 2 weeks. Training like the forge. Heat. Pressure. Hitting the steel again and again until it becomes something stronger. Humility, grit, empathy, those aren't stories you can fake. They're muscles built under load. And oftentimes, the universe uses difficulty as the only tool that can build the kind of strength blessings actually require. Let me explain what I mean. When things are easy, you rarely grow. Comfort is a quiet thief of potential. It lulls you into repeat mode. Do the same thing. Expect the same results. Hardship interrupts that pattern. It forces you to learn new skills, to make decisions you'd never have to make otherwise, to see parts of yourself and others that were invisible when everything was smooth. Think about someone who loses a job unexpectedly. In the immediate aftermath, there's fear and shame and 1,000 practical problems. But over time, often slowly, sometimes painfully, that person can become more resourceful. They learn how to network, how to sell themselves, how to make a tight budget stretch in ways they never imagined. They learn humility, to ask for help, to accept support, to say, I don't know. They might find a better fit later on, or build something of their own. The loss didn't feel like a gift at the time, but it became the doorway to skills and relationships that wouldn't have existed otherwise. Hardship cultivates empathy. When you've been humiliated, you're less likely to humiliate others. When you've slept on a couch, you're less likely to look down on someone who's doing the same. The hard things transform your heart to hold more. They enlarge your capacity to be present for other people's suffering without lecturing or turning it into a competition. That's not small. That's how leaders, artists, caregivers, and teachers are made, not by theory, but by experience. And then there's resilience, the quiet, underrated power that says, I can bend, I can adapt, I can return. Resilience isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about learning to move forward even when things aren't. It's not a sudden thing. It's harvested in small, repetitive choices. Getting up another morning, asking one more person for work, finishing a project despite fear. Those small acts compound. They produce a compound interest of courage. Here's a critical distinction most people miss. Hardships are not just obstacles to overcome. They are also filters. They refine and direct your path. Imagine life as a river. Smooth sections feel pleasant, but they don't change the riverbed. Rapids and rocks dildo the hardship. Shift the current. Carve out new channels. Create pools and eddies that slow and then accelerate the flow. Sometimes hardship's job is to redirect your life toward a future you would never have reached on an easier course. This doesn't make pain romantic. Don't let anyone tell you hardship is beautiful just because it teaches you something. Pain is real, it's heavy, it's unfair at times. This is not a cheap inspirational soundbite where tears turn to triumph overnight. Still, if you're going to be honest about what pain does, you must also be honest about how much it prepares you. It teaches lessons that comfort never can. So what can you actually do while you're in the middle of it? How do you survive and eventually thrive without turning your hardship into a self-inflicted purgatory? First, stop fighting your feelings. When you're going through hard things, the instinct is to bury shame, rage, grief, or fear because they make you look weak. But emotions are not enemies. They're signals. They're your inner compass telling you where things are broken and need attention. Allow yourself to feel the mess without letting it become the script that defines you. Cry. Be angry. Journal. Talk to someone who won't gaslight your experience. The process of feeling is how you start to heal. Second, simplify your focus. Hard times drain bandwidth. You don't need to do everything. You need to do what's essential. That might mean focusing on 3 things. Immediate survival, food, shelter, bills. One small step toward rebuilding. Reach out to one person, apply to one job, make one call. And something that keeps you human. A walk, a book, a ritual. Reduce decision fatigue. Small, consistent actions beat sporadic, heroic efforts. Third, name the lesson without turning it into self-blame. This is tricky. There's a difference between learning and wallowing. Ask yourself, what can this experience teach me? What skills am I being forced to build? Where did system fail me? And where did my own patterns show up? Answer with curiosity, not condemnation. That shifts you from victim to student, a powerful identity change. Fourth, find the gentle rhythms that restore you. Hardship demands resilience, but resilience needs rest. You are not a machine. Sleep, nutrition, movement, sunlight, brief moments of beauty. These are not indulgences. They are fuel. When you prioritize these, you repair the vessel that hardship is trying to strengthen. The goal is not to be stoic and unfeeling. It's to be repairable. Fifth, cultivate community. One of the cruelest myths is that you must suffer alone. The truth is, the people who endure stormy seasons will almost always have others. Not because they are weak, but because they're wise. Reach out. Tell someone you trust one small truth about what you're carrying. Accept help in concrete ways, a meal, a ride, a referral. These acts of receiving are as courageous as giving. Let me share a short story. A friend of mine, let's call her Maya, lost her partner and her job within 6 months. She told herself she had to be strong and push through alone until she couldn't. Finally, she shared her truth with a neighbor and a cousin. The community rallied. Meals for 2 weeks, introductions to a recruiter, a therapist recommendation. But the real change was internal. By sharing, Maya stopped pretending. She let weariness be witnessed. And in that witnessing, she stopped carrying the full weight herself. Months later, she found work that respected her rhythm and a small group of people who became chosen family. She didn't escape pain. She grew through it, and it made her both softer and stronger. Hardship changes timelines too. When things break, opportunities you were chasing fast may have to wait. That's terrifying. We're conditioned to fear delay. But delay can be a gift. It grants time to learn, to rest, to prepare. The universe sometimes slows your sprint so you can arrive ready for what's next. An unprepared blessing can be wasted. Preparation makes a blessing sustainable. Another important truth: your suffering often becomes someone else's roadmap. When you let your struggle teach you, and then you show up for others with what you learned, your pain becomes purpose. People pay attention to those who have walked through fire, because that's proof of experience. Your story, once healed and integrated, will help someone else weather their storm. That's the legacy of hardship. It turns personal pain into communal wisdom. Now, I want to be practical for a minute. If you're in the thick of it, here are 3 exercises you can do this week that actually move the needle. Exercise 1, the 3-1-0 audit. List 3 things that are absolutely essential to keep you alive and stable this week. E.g., pay rent, eat medicine. Next, list 1 thing that would make a real difference toward rebuilding. Apply for a job, set a call, send an email. Finally, write 0 excuses next to each item. 0 excuses means you make a plan to execute. Who you'll call, when you'll do it, what small steps you'll take. This tiny structure creates momentum. Exercise 2. The letter to your future self. Write a short letter to who you'll be 12 months from now. Describe the resilience you want to have, the small wins you imagine, and what you need now to become that person. Seal it, timestamp it, or set a calendar reminder to read it in a year. This exercise creates orientation, a North Star when the present is chaotic. Exercise 3, the empathy practice. Each day this week, reach out to one person and ask, "How are you? Really?" Not a superficial check-in, but a short space for truth. You'll be surprised how this does 2 things. It helps others feel seen, and it restores your sense of connection. Hardship can make you feel isolated. Connection is the antidote. Let's also clear a toxic narrative. Hardship is not a moral failing. If you're struggling financially, emotionally, or spiritually, that's not a judgment on your character. Systems fail. Bad luck happens. People make mistakes. Life is messy. The key is what you do next. Decide to be shaped, not shattered. Decide to be taught, not victimized. And yes, there will be days you relapse into despair. Expect that. Recovery and growth are not linear. Sometimes you'll take 2 steps forward and 1 back. That's fine. The important thing is habitually getting back up. That repetition is what builds the muscle of endurance. There's a sacred quality to surviving. It changes how you see time, love, and priorities. You start to value presence over posturing, depth over breadth, authenticity over image. You stop racing to prove anything to the world and start cultivating what truly matters. Relationships, meaning, a work you can sustain. Those are the gifts that only hardship seems to unlock. Finally, here's the invitation I want to leave you with. When you're in pain, say this once a day, not as denial, but as commitment. I am learning. I am becoming. I will carry this forward with wisdom, not with bitterness. Repeat it. Say it aloud. Let it be a tiny ritual that orients you toward growth. If this landed, if something in your chest loosened even a little when you heard that the universe could be preparing you rather than punishing you, do one small brave thing right now. Drop a comment that simply says, "I'm learning." No story, no justification. Just those 2 words as a promise to yourself. That tiny declaration turns private suffering into shared courage. It tells your future self that you chose to be a student of this season, not a prisoner of it. If you know someone who's been beaten down and needs a different lens, share this with them. They might need to hear that their hardships are training ground, not tombstone. Remember, the forge is hot for a reason. Steel becomes steel because it survives the fire. You are being tempered. You are not being condemned. There is a future self being formed in the ache and the grit, stronger, softer, more capable of carrying deep love, and more ready for the blessings that will require the exact strength you're building right now. Take a breath. Place your hand on your chest. Feel the steady rhythm there. You are still here. That alone is a declaration. Keep moving. The universe is working with you, even in the dark.